Hey there, Patriots. Welcome back to the front lines. This is Death Watch here to give you guys more intel so you can update your personal armory and fight back against the fake news media machine. And today we're going to be discussing Velma, the also terrific show of pure concentrated woke ideology, all wrapped up into one and reflected back at your TV screens, right? It's insane how the left is completely, people are trying to do, run so much defense, trying to, do mental gymnastics to explain why, Velma is so terrible, right? Here we have, this person called Bad Writing Takes, which they say Velma is extremely not good. It reads like a right wing YouTuber's clumsy understanding of what a diverse show is, which, given that the showrunner is Minnie Kaling, right? A who has faced criticism for transphobia and once described herself as a way conservative. What a way conservative? What does that mean? Right? I've never heard a way conservative. I watch a lot of conservative media. I watch a lot of conservative YouTubers, things like that. I've never once heard anybody describe themselves as a way conservative, right? That doesn't exist. Okay? But the reason why they say, "Oh, she is a right winger," is because she follows J.K. Rowling. Quite literally, the only people on the that you see who are leftists who are saying that Velma is a terrible show, they're all trying to attack Mindy Kaling and say she's a right winger because she follows J.K. Rowling. Why is J.K. Rowling considered a conservative? Well, because she pushed back against the intersectional feminist trans movement, right? We all know about the story about Leah Thomas, right? The former well the Leah Thomas is a biological male, right? They competed for years, right, under all the way up to their senior year in college as a male, and was bottom of the barrel, right? It was bottom of the barrel when it came to the male division for swimming. Okay, senior year at Penn State, they transitioned to a female, decide to compete as a female, and then completely demolishes the entire competition. And when people call that out, the left sat there and say, "Well, are you a biologist? How do you know that there's a difference between men and women and all this other bull crap, right?" Because J.K. Rowling openly said, right? I remember years ago, a couple of years ago, she comes out and was like, "Hey, I'm a biological female. There's a difference between biological females, and there's a difference between, trans women, right? You can't say that under the progressive ideology, right? You have to maintain the crazy rhetoric that there is absolutely no difference between a biological female and then a trans woman, right? Even though, right, when it came to the whole Alito SCOTUS decision where they remove, Roe v. Wade, right? Remember that? Then all of a sudden they started screaming, men have no right to say, what a woman should do with her body. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. You just said you guys have been maintaining for years now that there is no difference between the sexes. So therefore, right, if a woman can get pregnant, that means a trans man, right, should be also get pregnant. Okay, and if a trans man can get pregnant, and there's no difference between a trans man and a biological male, therefore men have every right to have a decision in the Roe v. Wade, right? Because now, once you open up that Pandora's box, everybody has a say so. But no, they this is the type of game they like to play, right? But going back to the insanity, right? Mark Hamill is also being canceled because he liked a couple of J.K. Rowling tweets, right? This is the leftist worldview. This is what Velma is. It's pure concentrated leftism wrapped up into one, and the left cannot pinpoint why the show is so bad because it will take a lot of self realization that hey, it's actually your own ideology being reflected at you, and the reason why you hate it is because of that. Okay, but no, no, no. It's because Mindy Kaling and the writers are all a bunch of right wingers. That has to be the case, guys. That has to be the case, right? You have this person here saying the showrunner of Velma, Mindy Kaling, is both a transphobe and said that you couldn't make The Office today because of cancel culture. She's a fellow reactionary, right? This is communist speak for right wingers. Anybody who is to the right of AOC, Bernie Sanders, is a reactionary. She deliberately made Velma suck so the culture war YouTubers can make a million videos about it to boost its CEO, right? Pure hard cope. It's all cope. Leftists are coping hard about Velma's disastrous episodes. They can't believe that when they look in the mirror, they see themselves in their deranged worldview being displayed in full view, whether it's Inside Job, Harley Quinn, etc. These adult shows are the same garbage, and I will maintain that that these shows are pure garbage. Right? We can get into that. We can get into my beliefs about Inside Job and Harley Quinn at a different time. We're gonna focus on Velma now, right? Here's a example.
Fred is probably innocent.
Yeah, but isn't it comforting to see a rich white guy get wrongly convicted for once?
I'm too distracted to enjoy it.
What?
Right? Anti-white sentiment, right? Again, years and years of this type of rhetoric being displayed, right? The thing is, if you ever talk to, right, that's what we want to say here. If you ever talk to a progressive, you will understand why exactly this is progressive worldview. Because again, just talk to them. You got so many YouTube channels that has these interactions, right? Whether it be Steven Crowder, Change My Mind. Go back and watch his videos and see the people who lose their absolute bullcrap on him. They use the exact same anti-white rhetoric. You're a white guy and you shouldn't have a say in this and stuff like that. I work in the news industry, right? I know progressives, right? During the whole Roe v. Wade, they were using the exact same anti-white. Why is a bunch of white men deciding what women should do with their bodies? It's all the same stuff, dude. Just listen to how they talk. You will understand that yes, these people are all progressives. This is the type of rhetoric they use. This is the way they think. This is the type of things that sets them off, right? It's easy. Just pay attention to your surroundings and the people that you work with, right? But again, here for mildly infuriating on Reddit, right? Somebody calls out Velma. New show Velma displays consistent racism towards white people, right? Fred's a rich white guy with a tiny dong. Those are all white people, Daphne, right? They were discussing, well, you can't, in TV shows, you can't have a troubled backstory unless you're a white person, right? This is the way that you have to you present yourself or whatever, right? Velma attacking another girl for being white, white girl with too much money, right? And then they completely sabotage Fred's character by making him a, sheltered, rich kid who can't do nothing for himself. Okay, but the rebuttal, right? The rebuttal to all this from the mods, they say because white supremacism is not welcome here, there's no such thing as racism against whites. That is a Stormfront meme. Racism is power plus prejudice. That's never been the definition of racism. Racism has always been anybody who believes that one race is worse or better than another, right? If you are a black person, you go around saying that I believe white people are the devil, they are evil, they have a type of evilness to them, right? That's what the book White Fragility talks about, right? When we talk about critical race theory, these are all the type of rhetoric that you see in those books, and they're trying to teach kids to believe in this way. They're trying to teach kids to be racist. Okay, plain and simple, right? This is not the definition of racism. This never has been, right? This is what the neo-Marxist progressives are trying to rewrite history as, that, hey, racism is race plus power, right? Which means only white people are racist because we live in a white majority country here in the United States. Therefore, they have institutional power, right? The white people have institutional power over all other races. Therefore, anybody who speaks out against white people here in America, regardless of I'm not gonna say the type of things that I've heard people say, but they'll claim if you sit here, if a white person sits here and say we should go out and do these bad things to black people, right? They'll say that's a hate crime. But if you're a black person, say a group of black people that say, hey, screw white people, we should go out and do these type of things to them. Well, hey, that's not considered a rape or a hate crime because that's the power, right? It's prejudice, but black people don't have any type of power here in America. So therefore, it doesn't fall under the racism category, and it doesn't fall under the hate speech, the hate crime category. Total BS. That's all racism. Racism is racism. The left likes to try to claim that, well, there's no such thing as reverse racism. It's like, yeah, there's no such thing as reverse racism. It's just called racism. Believing that one race is evil or good or evil or gooder than the other race is that's racism. That's been the definition of racism, right? Being called a mean word online might be prejudicial, but it's not racist when it cannot perpetuate this structural disadvantage and dehumanization because it doesn't exist, right? So it's BS, pure, simple BS. Okay, get out of here, bud. Get out of here with all that crap. But Velma cast and creator claims HBO Max series is inspired by their love for both animation and previous Scooby Doo cartoons. That's also BS. All of this is BS, right? Velma is a smart, pity Scooby Doo update, except for one thing, right? And they try to claim that Velma is actually interesting and all this other crap. Get out of here with that, right? But like, when we really go into the what they call the meat and potatoes of all of this rhetoric that we have been seeing, again, we have been seeing this constant theme in all of media. Okay, where does this all come from? Well, this is a little template from the Smithsonian, right? The Smithsonian Museum has their own little exhibit where they openly criticize what is the aspects and assumptions of whiteness and white culture in the United States, right? Rugged individualism, family structure, wanting to be in a nuclear family, even though the Chinese, even though the Asian communities all believe in the exact same bullcrap, right? In some cases, they're even better than white culture at a lot of this crap because in Asian culture, there's a lot of different things, right? Now, it's all BS, right? But when it comes to, again, critical race theory, essentially saying all this crap is let's go down right here. White dominant culture or whiteness refers to the ways white people in their traditions, attitudes, and ways of life have been normalized over time and are now considered standard practices in the United States. And since white people still hold most of the institutional power in America, we have all internalized some aspects of white culture, including people of color, right? Critical race theory is essentially saying, hey, we're going to identify all this crap as white people or white people stuff, right? White culture, white people stuff. This is what white people do, and we need to separate ourselves from this institutionalized normalization of white culture. Us people, we people of color, need to find a way to separate ourselves from the overarching white culture. Again, when you look at this, is why I always talk about this. You need to understand the ins and out of uh, progressive ideology, because they try to trickle it into the media. They trickle it into the music. They trickle it into all sorts of avenues to try to get people to blindly accept this new form of talking, this new form of living your life. Okay, it's all BS, right? This is why we see this crap popping up in our media. Why should you be surprised it shows up in our media? Of course, they're going to put it in the media because they're trying to convert people to this woke ideology. It's all BS. Okay? Same crap. You go to the next page, holidays based on Christian religions, which is, that's every country. That's every country, every culture, right? That's not unique to white people, right? Based on white history and male leaders, justice based, right? This is why, male leaders, right? This is why they constantly try to dehumanize and try to emasculate a lot of male figures. Justice based on English common law, blah, 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 blah. Competition be number one, even though a lot of people in the Asian culture also, right? I think Asian people make more, when it comes to a lot of Asian jokes and Asian culture jokes, a lot of this is more hardcore. So to sit here and try to berate white people for wanting to push this type of crap, it's stupid. It's completely stupid, right? But again, you should watch this video from Vice, anti and pro feminist debate. I believe this is Pearl. I forgot her last name, but also Sydney Watson, who used to be part of the Blaze. She also was on this panel. And again, when you sit down and you listen to all these different, feminists talk about their beliefs and stuff like that, it's all the same regurgitated bullcrap that you see everywhere else. Again, you need to know the ideology to understand why we are starting to see this constant, strong arming of wokeism in these type of shows, right? Because these people all go to the same liberal arts colleges. They all have the same communist pro-Marxist professors, and then they get sent off to these industries to go work, and now they're trying to implement these type of ideologies in the works, right? Why we see She-Hulk, completely terrible show. Why they changed up her character, right? Batman, Batman is now bisexual. Why? Right? Batman is supposed to be getting married to Selena Kyle, and we know that he's a playboy millionaire, right? For years now, we knew of that type of history of him, right? Now all of a sudden it's, we're gonna have a little backstory to the time where Bruce Wayne was bi-curious or whatever, right? No reason for it. It was just to virtual signal to the LGBTQ community, right? We go to, how DC's finest gave Robin a coming out story, right? Completely stupid because Tim Drake was straight, right? Ever since he was introduced to the to the Bat family, he was just a very passionate person who was dedicated to crime fighting, dedicated to becoming being seen as being seen by Bruce as the next Robin, right? This is after Jason Todd had died. They believed him to be dead, right? Nightwing went off to I forgot, Bloodhaven, so he's doing his own thing, and so Tim Drake was left with Bruce, and he was trying to show him, hey, I can be the next Robin, right? I can fight, I can hold my own, right? I showed you that, hey, I was able to deduce your identity using all these clues. I'm a master detective, right? I think that they actually try to, show that out of all the Robins, Tim Drake is actually the smartest, right? He's just not that as physically fit as say like Nightwing, or he's not as aggressive as Jason Todd, right? You got like the little mixes of them, but essentially Tim Drake was trying to prove himself to be Robin, and then he ended up dating Spoiler, who is Stephanie Brown, and that the new, I believe it was the Rebirth, right? After New 52 ended and they went into Rebirth, right? They pretty much just showed the relationship between Tim Drake and Stephanie Brown. You have now you have Nightwing back. You have Damian Wayne being introduced into the Bat family, right? Stephanie Brown was trying to get Tim Drake to give up crime fighting, give up the mantle, because hey, me and you, we can go on our own. We can become normal citizens. We can go to college, right? We all got they essentially all got accepted to the same college, so they wanted to pursue their careers, right? They say, hey, Batman has both Nightwing, who's most likely to go take up the Batman mantle after him, and then he also has his son Damian Wayne, who's going to take the mantle after Nightwing, right? We don't need to be here anymore, right? We don't need to put our lives in danger anymore, right? We can go out and live our normal everyday lives and pursue our dreams, right? That's been the story that they've been pushing with Damian Wayne, sorry, Tim Drake and Stephanie Brown. Spoiler, okay? It was a nice, heartwarming story, right? I really loved it, right? But then they decided, oh, we're just going to have this random backstory where we introduce Tim Drake with his, his same-sex boyfriend, right? We're just going to introduce a same-sex romance for him. Say it's in the past, and then have this guy come in and introduce himself to his now girlfriend, Stephanie Brown, and then they're all, A-okay with it and crap like that. Like, there's no reason for them to add this entire backstory to Tim Drake. It did not add to his character. We already had plenty of, character growth, character development in the New 52 and in Rebirth. There was no reason for us to go back and explain, shoehorn this character in and shoehorn his gay romance. There's no reason for that but to virtual signal to the LGBTQ family that, hey, we got more gay people in DC. It's stupid. Okay? At the end of the day, Velma has been rated a 1.3 out of 10 and is currently the third worst rated TV show on IMDb history, right? But to really just wrap this all up, again, I constantly talk about, hey, this is why you see a lot of this BS in today's media. Where does it come from? You have to understand the fundamentals of leftist culture speak, right? Going back to, if I can find it, going back to the Smithsonian article, the brochure, going back to a lot of the rhetoric that you see and you hear, right? You just, again, you can just watch Steven Crowder. You can watch, when he does his Change His Mind series, right? Go back and watch all those videos. Go back to when Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson used to go to colleges and debate people, right? You hear that rhetoric over and over and over, right? There's other YouTubers, Flecka Talks, and there's another one. I think No Boundaries. I think that's their name. I don't know, but they do like Men on the Road, where they go to these different protests and sit there and they talk to people and they say, even I think Elijah Schaefer, he used to, he still does it, right? He just recently left the Blaze and he still does that stuff. But there's plenty of people who still go to these protests, still have the man on the ground interviews where they talk to people at these protests. And again, you hear the exact same regurgitated rhetoric over and over and over being displayed full view, and you want to know why you start seeing all these type of tropes, all these type of uh, craziness in these type of in these shows, in the media, in comic books. It comes from all of this, right? This is where it all originates from. You need to have an underlying understanding of the type of people, the ideology that you're dealing with here, okay, to fully understand and grasp why we start seeing this type of crap being pushed so heavily in pop culture. Okay, so with all that being said, like, share, subscribe, stay safe, stay sane, be vigilant, and I'll see you, Patriots, on the battlefield.